Jahiem Bell is the next Kyle Juszczyk. No doubt about it. This guy has positional versatility locked down. He is lined up in the backfield. He's lined up in the slot. He's lined up out wide. He's lined up, offset in the backfield as a fullback. He's lined up with his hand in the ground. He's lined up on the edge. And this guy is just lined up everywhere. And he's been able of doing that for a long, long time. In fact, in one of his best years before he transferred to Florida State, he played for the South Carolina Gamecocks, where he ran the ball pretty effectively, and he's been able to find the end zone if given the chance to run the ball. And this guy's not just a short yardage guy. He's able to run deep routes. He can run the seam route really well. He can run the edge route really well. We saw in Reese Senior Bowl practices that he was able to kind of run the boundary a little bit, has really good body control when catching the football. And honestly, I think might be a steal as the tight end fullback hybrid, kind of bringing the position back and being sort of that positionless offensive weapon where no matter where you line up, he's a mismatch. Before we get too much into it, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the sort of stuff that he's got going for him. So let's get into some of the stats real quick. So PFF has him ranked as the 6th best tight end in this year's draft class. His ADP is like 183.8. His overall player ranking is 189. So he's going to go in the 5th round, possibly, a mid-day 3 sort of guy that I think is going to be substantially better than his draft position. This could be a steal at the tight end position. He's 6'3", 239 pounds, so he's comparable to Juszczyk, who is 6'2" and 235. He's got 9 7/8 inch hands and a 79 and 3/8 inch wingspan. The guy is just a specimen. He's projected to run somewhere in the 4.5s or high 4.4s. Even though I don't put too much stock in the 40-yard dash, that is still moving for a guy who's 239. He had a 503 yards on 12.9 yards per reception, total 2 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. Those are lower TD numbers than he did have for the Gamecocks the previous year before transferring to Florida State. But don't knock this guy for his numbers, as we're going to get into some tape here in a minute from the Reese Senior Bowl. It's going to show you just how versatile Jahiem Bell can be and sort of what he can do and where he can line up. So without any further ado, I think we should just get into it. I think we should just get into the Bell tape, and that's what we're going to do. So here we see him lined up in the standard fullback position. He's slightly offset towards your screen. He's standing up right now in the orange sleeves, green gloves. So this is actually going to be him run blocking from this position, and he's going to set the edge really well on Javon Solomon, who I am very high on out of Troy as an edge defender and who is really rated pretty high against the run. So we're going to go ahead and run this forward here. Like I said, Jahiem Bell, standard fullback position, hand on the ground. Now he's going to break out here one-on-one with Javon Solomon. Look at him. Seal that edge, give the running back a chance, and it's a big game. It's 6-7 yards down the field. So here now, he's changed his lineup position, right? Quarterback's in the shotgun. He's sort of in tight, but off the line of scrimmage. He's going to run a curl here. Not going to get the ball, but it shows you that he can run those sorts of routes and have that intricacy there. So, he ran the curl, sort of broke downfield to start blocking, but it presented a solid target for the quarterback, was able to get his body around really quickly, ran a solid route, and it probably was depth enough to get a first down there at 2nd and short. So here's another one where Jahiem Bell's going to be tight. He's going to put his hand in the ground as a tight standard inline tight end here, and he's going to run upfield. He's going to run an out for a first down here. And he's got a guy draped all over him. I didn't get it all in the frame, but he's going to complain about pass interference here when he stands up. He's like, what the hell? So that just shows you, he was able to get that far downfield that quickly, run an out route, and then even with a guy, clearly PI holding him, is able to get his hands on the ball, make a good catch, and move the chains from the tight end position, a standard tight end lineup. So we've seen him line up as a fullback. We've seen him line up as a sort of stand-up move tight end, and now we've seen him line up with his hand in the ground and run a pretty good route. So here we're going to see another one here. I believe this is a run play. He's going to not put his hand in the ground, but he's still kind of in that, that second tight end far out. They have 2 tight ends right there. I think that's Ben Sinnott. And he's going to run a good block there, double team with Sinnott, and allow Sinnott to get up to the second level And as you can see, that is actually a really good job. So like, I don't think he's going to be a dominant run blocker on his own on the line of scrimmage. You know, from the fullback spot, I think he can do pretty good. But here he's able to get on a block with Sennett and allow Sennett to tear off and get to the second level there as you see him hit the safety as it comes down. And so that just shows you already he's lined up in, 4 different alignments and presented a very, very good idea of what he can do in the NFL. And we also saw him make a really good catch. So he's viable in the run game. He's viable in the receiving game. He's going to present a good target, runs a good route, and has the capability to also be a rusher and be pretty serviceable in that short yardage goal line situation that you just don't see a lot of like tight ends who try to be fullbacks. Jahiem Bell is a fullback who can be a tight end. And I think Florida State didn't use him effectively in their scheme and sort of how they do things. But if you see right here, he's perfectly capable of doing everything you want from the tight end position and from the fullback position. So we're going to look at this player here. Now you can't really see him. He's making sure he's off the line. He's kind of in that like offset, off the line, tight formation, tight end spot here. He's going to run a flat route. And, you know, he ran a good flat route, clear out space, brought the guy down. I really thought that he could have got the ball there. It probably wouldn't have gone for very much, but it's a solid route from your tight end. If he breaks that, which he was shown he's able to do in college, break those sort of flat routes for big gains, that could have been a big play if you give him a chance, you know, but it would have had to been on him almost instantaneously. Like you have to immediately think you're going there. So here he is again, hand in the ground, run blocking. You know, seals the edge well. Javon Solomon shucks him, but the play doesn't go that way, and he still's able to hold him up. So I think that there's a lot of good things that Jahiem Bell can do in his game, and I really think that any team that takes him is going to be very, very happy with the prospect that he is. Now, you have to imagine, right? Like, there's some other tight ends in this class that are getting a lot of hype about them. I know Theo Johnson is one. Ben Sennett is one. I think Jahiem Bell should be mentioned in that conversation. I mean, he doesn't have the size as Sennett and Theo Johnson, but if you're looking for a solid sort of hybrid player that can line up all over the field and do a lot of good things and be just a mismatch nightmare, he is that guy. He's not your prototypical tight end. I don't think he's going to be a solid run blocker, but he was pretty serviceable. I mean, he graded out pretty decently as a run blocker. He's pretty good as a pass protector, and he's really good in the passing game. So I just don't see why this guy's rated so lowly. I mean, he does everything you want him to do, and he looked good all Senior Bowl week. I am telling you right now, this guy has a chance of being one of the best tight ends in this draft, and he could single-handedly revive the fullback position because this type of player has a place in the NFL for teams that are willing and know how to use his skill set. This guy is going to be a very, very good NFL player, and you just have to give him the chance. And I could see him thriving with a team that values his sort of skill set. I mean, I don't think he's going to be, you know, a running back that's going to blow your mind or a tight end that's going to blow your mind, but his skill set, lineup versatility, and all those sorts of things, plus his hands and body control and his route running, to be honest, are all things that you covet in the NFL. And Jahiem Bell is going to be an absolute steal come the end of the 2024 draft, wherever he goes. And this is going to be one of those guys where you're going to be like, man, we could have had that guy. He's special. And I know I compared him to Kyle Juszczyk. I think he's a better pass catcher than Kyle Juszczyk, and he's a better runner than Kyle Juszczyk is. I think he's got everything you want from an NFL perspective and can be that mismatch nightmare that, you know, complements a really good offensive scheme. So if you haven't been looking at Jahiem Bell, it's time you start.